I actually saw an ad in online. Like I was scrolling through an article, and I just read Urban Fellowship program, and I just clicked on it like straight up, just out of curiosity. And then I went through the website, and I was like, "Oh, this looks cool. I'm gonna apply." And then that's just sort of how it happened. I wouldn't say completely new to me, but also there were just a lot of elements in the fellowship that architecture just didn't cover. So architecture was very building oriented, or say very like design output. Like you have a concept and then you give a proposal, or you have a design. um, it never really considered all of like the city or like the fabric that that design was placed in. Even if we ourselves considered it while looking at our design, it just never came through in that sort of process. So there were elements, but not really. I was a little like hesitant at first because I knew that there was like a pandemic going on and that classes were going to be online. I wasn't even sure if it was going to go beyond the online term. But I think the first week of the online term, and I was just like, yeah, this feels right. Like this just feels nice. Um, Also, I just really liked how it was not just like designers or planners or architects. It was a whole range of people coming from very different and diverse backgrounds, and also just different experience levels. So some who are like straight out of college, or and then some who have like 5 or 6 years of work experience. So that range also just really helped, I think, just broaden my own perspective of how I look at things. I remember thinking of it as like, I like that I'm meeting the people before I'm actually going to physically meet them. So I sort of knew everybody through their online persona. But also, it was very different as we came here. I think everyone just got to know each other a lot quicker and a lot just not, it wasn't a normal progression of getting to know somebody. It was like you knew them, you knew their academic background sort of, but then you meet them in person, and then that transition was, I think, something that none of us have experienced. So it was nice. I've always just been in one city. Like I've been in Mumbai my whole life. Me coming to Bangalore was also like a move for me because I've never been to another city, but the fact that it was another city, I was okay with it. But the people that I met here have just come from all sorts of places. They've come from, I can't even think of like all the names, but they've come from everywhere, and they've had such different experiences as compared to me. And while I've heard about such things, I've never actually had conversations with people who've come from such varied backgrounds. So I feel like that in itself was also very valuable. I personally really enjoyed it because some of the things like economy and governance, while planning a little bit, I had, because of my own interest, read about and engaged with. Economy, governance, and all of these other aspects was just something that, I mean, I'd heard about, but never really. I was a little afraid of my own capabilities to be able to engage with those topics. But the course structure was so mixed. Like, it was everything. Like, I feel like I got to put my hand in all of the jars at the same time. And it sort of even just made me feel a little more confident in my own skills because I know that there's just not one set of skills a person can have. It can be like varied. So even the labs, even the skill labs, like something like GIS or even media lab or even writing, all of these things that I've wanted to do, the course structure sort of introduced me to it and then pushed me to even apply it during the fellowship. I really enjoyed the GIS labs because, again, I remember even in my sort of final year project in architecture school, I could not. I was looking at I was looking at urban conditions, but my output was very like singular. It was a building. So that always bothered me, even like through the fellowship. Where as I've been going through the program, I've been looking at how can I go back to that sort of site and look at it a little bit differently. And I feel like the GIS lab really gave me those tools to be like, okay, but this is the site, this is what it looks like, this is what I can do with it, this is how I can analyze it. So I feel like I've taken away a lot from just that one lab. I'm just drawing from my previous experiences, but even in like architecture, we would have site visits, we would have field visits, but I felt like always that those were just too limited and too short. But Practica just allowed us to go to a neighborhood, engage with it completely. It was not that much about, oh, what can I get out of the neighborhood? It's like, what is the neighborhood going to give me? And spending that sort of time, I remember every week our sort of questions would change about what we were studying. And I think that's only possible if you keep going back to site and you keep engaging with the field, which Practica allowed us to do. I'm currently looking at the Kengeri campus, the experimental building at Kengeri campus, and we are trying to analyze the building performance. And we're conducting a survey for to record the thermal comfort of the building. So it's going to be a series of surveys, and we're going to also record the air temperature and the global temperature and all of those things. It's like unique in its construction, and we just want to look at how every room sort of accommodates the users and what the thermal comfort is like. So it's a very thermal comfort based study. I think the organizations that we got, the list of them, they're very vast and they're very varied. It I feel like it gave me a lot of scope to step outside my own field. I want to look at more of like other organizations that look at sustainability a little more closely. So not just architecture based, but also urban planning, NGOs that work on ground to like rebuild and retrofit. So I feel like the scope of the internships is not limited just to my discipline, and that's what I really like about it. That I'm not restricted to what I've studied up until this point, and the fellowship has like allowed me to expand and look at other fields a little bit more. Try to apply a little bit before the deadline and not so close to it, because I think that there are a lot of resources that I could have looked at before I applied that would have really helped me, and I think that would help the future applicants too.